Jay Horwitz, the latest edition of the Amazing Mets Alumni Podcast, with my special guest, Mr. Al Leiter. Al, how long have we known each other? 25 years?
Well, I knew you before I became a Met.
Yeah.
We all knew Jay Horwitz. I remember you in the dugout in the '86 World Series.
I was, but I have one picture of you in my house. Could you guess what it is?
Either '99 or 2000.
No, it's a picture of me and you in a swimming pool and our bathing suits on.
I got crap for that.
It was the first day of the new pool in the complex, and Jeff Wilpont said, "Join Al in the pool." So Jay said, "I'll take my jacket and shirt off," and jumped in. I think I had my underwear on or whatever it was. I jumped in the pool, and that was the picture. We were flexing.
Yeah, all right over. Yeah, that's right. It was the Swimex.
That Swimex.
Right?
Yeah, it was my first.
That's what we got. Nothing holding up a trophy.
It was with me. I haven't been swimming much lately. Yeah.
No. Although it's very good for you, Jay.
Yes. Al, growing up in Toms River, you could have been a Yankee fan, Mets fan, Philly fan. How did you pick the Mets?
My father.
Your father?
My father was born in a hospital that no longer exists in 1927 under the 59th Street Bridge. My grandfather moved out to Bayshore, Long Island. My dad grew up in East Islip, Bayshore. And, then years later, fast forward, my dad was athletic, but he didn't play sports based on his life, right? It was a kind of a tough era of, prior to World War II and all that. But what triggered him to be turned on by not only baseball but the New York Mets was at inception when the Mets hired Casey Stengel, the Lovable Losers. And actually, being one of 6, I have 5 older brothers, 1 twin sister. I'm the youngest of 7. My dad didn't like the Yankees. Well, 2 things: because of all the winning through all the 50s and the 60s, 50s, whatever, they always won. And he thought, as an example, because the Yankees back then, some of those guys, they like to join, frequent the Copacabana and other places.
Billy Martin, those kind of guys.
Yeah, Mickey, and whatever. They're having fun, right? Boys will be boys. And I guess in some way, my dad was like, "No, I want my boys. I like this Lovable Loser thing," and he just grabbed onto the Mets. And then here comes John, my oldest brother, John. He started the Leiter boys of playing baseball. Then I grew up, as you said, in Ocean County, down the shore. And John went to my mom and said, "I want to play Little League." So that's, 10 years old. John's 9 years older than me, so I'm 1. And that started, and the reason why I bring up my brother John, because John, Carl, Eric, Kurt, Mark, who played in the big leagues.
Consider it backwards?
Mark, Carl,
I'm just kidding.
Eric, Kurt. That's good. All he tried to do was emulate Tom Seaver's delivery.
Right.
From 67 on, when Seaver was rookie year. Yeah, and the rest is history. So it was no BS.
How exciting! August 27th is going to be old timers again. First one we have in 22 years. As a historian of the Mets, exciting for you to see the guys we have. 462 Mets here, 569 Mets, probably over 65 guys coming. You can reminisce, go through history.
73? Who's on the 73 team?
John Stearns,
73?
Yeah, well, no, Felix Mian is coming.
What about Matlack?
Matlack is coming.
How about Wayne Garrett?
No, I didn't. I made some enemies. I didn't invite a whole lot of people. Did you know when the...
Wayne Garrett?
No, I don't... Wayne, if you didn't hear this, it was Al's
Sorry,
decision.
Wayne.
We invited...
I'm trying to think. Right, so let's see. I'm 65, so I was 80... I'm 8 years old. That was very impressionable, the 73 team. With Willie Mays with his arms in the air when Buddy Harrelson was safe.
Yeah, we extended an invitation to Willie, but if he could travel, that would be great. But who's your favorite? Who are you looking forward to seeing the most there?
Wayne Garrett. Honestly, so here, all right, how do I do this? How my career started with the Yankees, I go to Toronto, I go to the Marlins, but every time that I came through Shea Stadium, there was always something that was very, reminiscing and very emotional as far as my time as a fan and growing up, being around the stadium periodically. So when I got to the Mets, there were times in my 7 years here that you and others that organized with the old Mets. And I remember whether it was a ceremony on the field or And I would always come out. It was always Johnny and I. You know, like there was other guys, but like, you know, Johnny Franco, of course, being every bit as a Met fan as I was. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I mean, just seeing, but, you know, Ed Charles and, you know, Buddy Harrelson and Art Shamsky and, of course, Ron Swoboda.
Is there one favorite guy or just...
Well, I mean, Tom Seaver. Like, I mean, yeah.
When you were here, Al, how much interaction did you have with Tom? I mean...
Well, I mean, not whenever he was in,
Yeah.
I did everything I could to seek him out. Because, you know, you're around royalty there. He was the Mets.
Are you looking forward? You know, on opening day, we're going to unveil a Seaver.
By the way, all right, let's. So the old timers game. Thank you, and whoever else is behind you that's supporting it financially.
You know, Steve Cohen is really big time. He wants to, you know, dedicate our history and celebrate our history. So we have uniforms. We got nice rings for you guys too to celebrate the old timers game.
And I really appreciate it. And I come from a place as a fan. I remember, of course, Yankee Old Timers Day, right? You know, that, let's face it. I know there's Mets fans listening to this. You're going to get pissed off. But, like, that was the benchmark for all organizations. And justifiably so, right? From Babe Ruth on. Like, the rest of it. So when having experienced that and seeing the Old Timers was cool. And I always thought, like, what? Like, there's some other franchises that have the history to be able to celebrate their past. You don't have to have 20-something World Series. You have people who loved that generation.
We can have Al Leiter pitch it to Mike Piazza or Dwight Gooden pitch it to Ron Swoboda. This is what I'm really looking.
Who else? Give me another hitter. Give me a big hitter, lefty.
Robin Ventura, were your teammate.
I'll serve one up for Robin, but I don't know. He's got a line drive swing. I need somebody uppercut.
Hey, let me digress 1 second. Talking about Robin Ventura, you got World Series rings, All-Star games. I won World Series in '86. People ask me my 42 years, what was my greatest thrill? I go back to the 2001 team, you know, because with 9/11, we made a difference. You know, the ring was great, beating the Red Sox was great, but my legacy, I'm so proud to be a part of that team with you and Robin and Johnny and Todd and, you know, Joe McEwen, Vance Wilson. We did so much to give back to the community. That was my favorite. That's number one on my list.
Wow. Well, I mean, what it meant to all of us, right? And it extended beyond baseball. I mean, it was literally life and death and sadness for a lot of people that were affected. And what you did with Tuesday's Children and
we all started that. It was great. You know, it was good to be a part of that. You know, looking back, you know, that's we 20 years. It was an emotional night for you, for everybody, right?
It made that moment in time for all of us that were alive and wherever we were when 9/11 hit. It made, for me, how insignificant life really was. Right. Because, I mean, literally, in the matter of seconds, it changed tens of thousands of people directly, and then, of course, millions of all of us.
I remember that Tuesday morning, you and I had a conversation. You were supposed to pitch that night in Pittsburgh. I think you called me or something. I forget what the conversation was, but you stayed there, and you saw actually the planes hit the tower, right? You never got there to Pittsburgh.
No. So I never did this in my whole career. But I figured from LaGuardia to Pittsburgh, there was like a flight every half hour. And it was my oldest daughter, Lindsay's, first day of school in New York City because we were living in Florida full-time. And that's when we decided to live full-time, and I finished with the Mets. So my last 4 years, we lived in Manhattan. So she was nervous, justifiably. She was a little girl. And I was like, I know this is messed up. We had an off day. We were coming from Florida to Pittsburgh. We had an off day on that Monday, 9/11. And I was on a plane. I was on a tarmac, ready to take off for Pittsburgh. It was like a 8:45, 9 o'clock flight. And then I got on the phone with you, and you were trying to help me scramble. I'm in a New York City taxi cab. The person was going to take me to Philadelphia. I'm going over the Triborough, and I look to the left, still see it right as I talk to you now, Jay. The tower's burning, smoke, right there. Clear, beautiful day, as everybody remembers. And I'm on the phone with you, literally. I'm like, Jay, oh my God. And we weren't, obviously, hindsight, right? You did everything to try to help me get on a plane in Philly. So I'm yelling at the cab driver, get it. And they shut off Randall's Island. So
I didn't get you on a plane.
No. We shut off Randall's Island. They shut down George Washington. I tell the cab driver, I said, I don't care how much it is. We have to go up to the the Tappan Zee.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. Well, the rest is history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Dale Earnhardt's family is to racing, right? what the Leiter family has become to pitching. God willing, knock on wood, Jack makes it to the major leagues. You'll be the first family to have 4 pitchers pitch in the major leagues. You, your brother Mark, his son, and hopefully Jack. How does it make you feel?
Wow, is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Courtesy of Elias.
Thank you, Elias, and thank you, Jay. I wondered if that was ever
Never happened before.
So here, let me go one further, because my brother Mark, who played 10 years in the big leagues, played for multiple teams. He was actually here in 2001 in spring, and then Steve Phillips traded him to Colorado. Whatever. My son pitched in his first major league spring training game a couple weeks ago out in Arizona for Texas. It was a day game. That night, my nephew, Mark's son, who's had a couple years in the big leagues, was pitching that night for the Chicago Cubs against San Francisco in Scottsdale.
Really? That's great.
So I didn't think much of it, Jay. Now that you said that if Jack, God willing, stays healthy and makes it, really cool that that's never happened. On the same day, 2 guys that played in the big leagues, I watched my son with my brother. We got in the car from Surprise, Arizona, and drove over to Scottsdale that night with Jack and watched Marky pitch for the Cubs. Yeah. Jay, that, honestly, there's most of the time in life you don't really snap it, snap the shot. And then that night, Mark was being very, kind of sentimental, emotional. He sent me a text, and I just started thinking, I'm like, yeah, how is that you have to have the 2 guys that play in the big leagues. You have to be in the same city, in this case, spring training. Albeit spring training. And they pitched on the same day.
That's crazy. I mean, did you know right on Jack would want to go this route? I know you probably didn't push it on him. It was up to him.
That he wanted to play?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning. Did you know he wanted to play from the beginning?
Yeah. Jay, I don't know if you remember. I mean, Jack, this big, running around here.
Sure.
Even as I sit here in Port St. Lucie, after practice, I would either take him out here, like a lot of players do, right, with their little guys or girls, and just throw the ball around. He always had a glove and a ball in his hand. And my thing with my son, and he's not the biggest guy. He's not 6'1". He's 6 foot something.
Right.
I said, Jack, look, as I saw his development and his interest and his love and his desire to work and want to get better, I said, look, this is what the guys are doing. This is what I did, and this is what the guys are doing. As far as process, program, routine, workout, all the stuff, right? And be self-motivated, because this is not for me. Yeah. This is cool if you ever, wherever it amounts to, but this is you. I love you for whatever you do.
I remember watching you at the Vanderbilt games on TV. You looked like a nervous wreck sitting in the stands.
Really? So here, I will say this, Jay.
Yeah, you look like...
By the way, I don't want to say annoyed, because how dare I, but, now when I look back, because I'd have friends, oh, geez, they're always on you on the camera. I'm like, well, beep, I'm not telling them to do it. So what I started to do, for anybody out there that thinks that it's maniacal, which it wasn't, but I used to keep my own chart. Starting pitchers chart. Right. So it was my way to have a conversation with a lot of these kids that really don't talk these kids don't know how to talk a whole lot now, if you know what I mean. They don't engage as much. So how do I engage and have a poignant, real baseball conversation with my son, who probably, maybe not really paid attention as to what actually took place? So I would chart, and I did simple charting. And this goes back to even the summer ball, all those exciting summer ball events, and then he did the All-American, whatever the stuff. And then the high school, and then he was on the Team USA, whatever. It was, it was it was for me to be able to engage in a real baseball conversation with my son. That was it. Now, it did keep me busy to where maybe if I got a little nervous, I was focusing on my stuff, my Harvey Dorfman stuff, right? Execute a pitch. Where was that pitch? 1-2 count. He hung a slider. Middle. Guy hit a double. Oh, slider's up. That's why he hit it. Oh, geez. The last 2 innings, he's faced 7 batters. He's been ahead only 1 time. He's behind in the count. Stuff like that. So when the time is right, 100% when it's right. It's not like, hey, kid, what that? You just, hey, Jack.
You had to be proud to weigh, number 2 in the country. I'm a very proud dad.
I'll smack you. No, he's pissed off. He's really been one.
We're number 1.
We're number 1. No, Jay, amazing. Amazing. That, how does life turn? How does it play out? I don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know. So all of his work, well, I mean, we could even go back to high school because he, my path. I would have gone to University of Florida.
Right.
I signed out of high school. Money mattered in my life. Thankfully, I thank God every day for my son and my family that, baseball's been good and life's been good.
Right.
So I was glad that it wasn't a money decision, and I'm grateful for that. But early on, my wife Lori, she's a lawyer, and I'm Einstein.
Albert?
Albert. Albert. No, but it was, Jack, you're going to college. But he would have been a first rounder out of high school in Barton, New Jersey. Like that was, and it was funny because some of the guys that I know, as you know, this baseball community is very small. Leading up to the draft out of high school, they thought I was pulling some of these guys' legs. And I had a couple scouting directors call me the Saturday before the draft when Jack was in high school. He's like, Al, don't mess with me. Are you sure he's going to college? I'm like, yes, he's going to college. He goes, you're not going to. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, he's going to college. So that experience for Jack to go on to Vanderbilt, great program, great coach. Tim Corbin talks about making these better young men, better friends, better teammates, better sons, hopefully someday better husbands and fathers. That's Tim Corbin's kind of mantra. And then it comes to X's and O's and baseball.
Let me talk Mets for a second. You've been in Mets camp a couple of days. You doing a little minor league stuff. What's been your impression? Scherzer, DeGrom, Bassett, Walker, Carrasco.
I mean, I want to be careful because I don't want to make it sound like I'm like a complete homer here, but I'm pretty honest. I'm honest. Like when I do my TV stuff, I'm not a. It's not a. I don't really I tell the truth about what Hey, that team's good. That team's bad. Oh, what's he doing? Going over this team, and I'm trying to think even when we went to the World Series and some of my teams, this team roster-wise, and maybe you'll be able to help me because I know 15 they went to the World Series. This roster, I think, may be the strongest roster that they've had since you might have to help me going back to the 80s.
It is. Probably stronger than 15, I would say for sure. And the staff is probably stronger too.
Yeah.
Well, I should say it. We had DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Matt.
I know, but DeGrom wasn't DeGrom yet.
Right.
Matt was coming on. Yeah, no, I got it, and that was special. That was a very special. Right. It's just when I look at this team and what they're building, it's not only solid at every position, but what I like about this, because it really matters in this day and age, especially with high performance nutrition and what they do for respect to these guys have given them days off. This is now a lengthy bench as well.
You go back with Buck a long way. What is, in your mind, what does he bring to the table as a manager of the Mets?
Candidness. He's going to be unbelievably with a tough media market, with being able to diffuse.
And that's really important too, as somebody in the media. To be a spokesman for the team and command the clubhouse.
Because you put out all the bullshit little brush fires, all the stuff that comes up. And, I get it. It's funny. I can't believe time flies, but I retired, spring of 06, so that's 15 years ago or something. So it goes fast, as you know, Jay. People, life. But the more I get removed from it, would I get zinged once in a while by Mike and the Mad Dog saying something stupid? Or one of the columnists who were spot on, but I didn't like what they wrote. Yeah,
You never ducked, though.
No. But that's where I think if players, if it gets personal and the comments or the things in which they're written or said that are not tangible, that's where guys get pissed. Because when you start assuming what you think the player is thinking or what you think the player might have done or should have done, your eyeballs tell you execution or lack of execution. And if you just go on that, and there's a player who's upset, if I went out today and I went 3 1/3 and gave up 5 and I walked 5, I stunk. And now I'm going to be
That's
upset.
what you have to do.
And I'm going to be upset because
Yeah.
the post has like, Leiter stinks. You know, put a big stinker bomb over the thing. Like, so what?
Did you pitch the first game in Miami?
Wait, here. So I'm sorry because I'm crazy. I already had my 5-shot latte. So. Yeah, Johnny, if you're listening, I used to get Johnny Franco lattes, and he's like sitting in the bullpen. His heart's like pounding. Buck Showalter, the right manager for the right team in the right city at the right place
100%.
with the right group. Everything. I can't say enough nice things about Buck. And he's honest. It'll be accountability. When things go sideways, you're going to have a real seasoned adult in the room that's going to help.
Probably have the wrong date. When we got you, what was your first start for the Mets? Was it in Miami? No. Did you pitch opening day?
No. Well, I pitched a couple opening days here, but no. In '98, they gave it to Bobby Jones, I think.
I remember one time.
I did have an opening day in Miami.
We lost the first game, and the headline in the Post was $75 million bus. I thought it was your game that we pitched. You lost, whatever.
Boy, I wish I signed for $75 million.
I remember one dinner we were at together.
How do I not remember? Was it in Miami, Jay? 1998. I thought we opened up home.
I remember we lost. And the headline was, we spent all the money.
That might have been the next year. I think that was '99.
I remember we were at dinner. The writers did a couple of years ago. You were honored for losing the World Series game against the Yankees. Soho's rolling right through the middle. You accepted an award for losing the World Series.
Yeah, I think that was. It's like I've never accepted an award for giving up a hit, losing a World Series.
One game was probably my favorite Leiter game. Was the playoff game against the Reds. We traveled all night to get there, Cincinnati. I think in the 8th inning, they gave up the second hit, and you looked at the board and said, "I've only given up one hit." You really didn't know how good they. It was a 5-0 shutout. I think Ricky and Fonzie got home runs early.
Yeah. So the home runs early was like it felt like it was 10 runs.
Yeah.
And that was a time when I think I had a lot. I'm looking at stats because I guess DeGrom has had some, rough run support, and I think one of the Twitter sites that had me like similar. So, which is fine. We had some tough pitchers, as the NL East has. Thank you, Jay. It was a big moment because, like a Game 7, generally speaking, if your starting pitcher lays an egg, you're probably going to lose. And I knew the importance of it. What made that game really unusual, Bobby Valentine told me I think the Reds had to lose for us to go on to Arizona.
Right.
I was pitching Game 1 against Randy Johnson, or I was going to pitch this 163rd game. And we had to stay at the Diamond Club at Shea Stadium.
Right, we left really late,
Yeah, because they had a central time zone. I think it was extra innings. It's crazy. Like, everything added up. So we left late. And, and it's moments like that. I think early on I sprayed some. I remember Oral Hershiser coming in, and Oral being kind of the older guy, put his arm around me in one of the innings. I'm a lunatic anyway when I pitch, but
no, I don't think so.
No, I'm not a lunatic. But then I settled in, and Pokey Reese hits a double down the left field line. I'm getting the ball back from Ray Ordonez, and I see it in Riverfront. I think it was still Riverfront.
Right.
And I see the one hit for the Reds go to 2 hits, and I remember getting the ball back. You're Ray, and I like right over your head. I'm like, and I looked at him like. And I turn around. It's in the 9th inning, Jay.
Yeah.
It's one out in the 9th. That was not the 8th inning. It's the 9th.
Like Kevin Costner in For the Love of the Game.
Well, that's it. So you know how I feel about the late Harvey Dorfman.
Yes.
He turned my life around.
Yes.
And I was admitting to that back in the early 90s when guys were, I'm good, Yeah. No, you're not good. And I could tell. You could tell the guys that are fake tough guys. I'm good. No, you're not. You're 1-4 your last 5 starts, and your ERA is 7. If you're good right now, well, then your expectations stink. So wait a minute. So by doing that, you get in this zone of being in where you want to be with respect to what your job is as a pitcher. So that, for the love of the game, if anybody hasn't watched that final scene,
I love the movie. Yeah.
Where he says clear the mechanism, and you got all the loud.
Well, you got the girl back in there, which remember
got the girl.
Yeah, made me feel.
You
good.
like the love story, sappy movies, right?
I loved the love story with Ryan O'Neal and what's his name?
Meg Ryan.
Tucker McGraw. No, not Tucker McGraw. Meg Ryan. No.
Meg Ryan.
No, it wasn't.
Tatum. Paul O'Neal.
Let's with the back then, you would have, last call, you sparked something, just told me. One of the few guys started your own charity. You said to me, just renovating your own high school field. Leiter's Landing back in the 90s. How did you who ingrained in you to give back and do it back then?
I think just knowing it's the right thing to do. Knowing how grateful, blessed, and lucky I was to have played 19 seasons in the big leagues. I made a very good living. It's a lot of money. How can you affect people who could use some help? And then that just branched. I think the impetus behind it was, as celebrities here, as a Major League Baseball player, and you did an unbelievable job pulling us all in. No, but guys like you, Jay, deserve so much more credit.
Well, it's good to make it easy, for me,
Okay, but understanding that I can affect other people favorably because of what I do every fifth day, in this case with the New York Mets, to throw a baseball.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of money. So how can I help them?
Yeah.
And then I get you to help with an organization that's willing to have their players go out and make a difference in the community. Sign me up.
Yeah. When you get back to New York, do you think you're going to take your picture with Tom Seaver's statue?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's the day before. I want to be there.
It's the 15th, yeah.
I know. It's that's like the day before Easter or something like that, right?
Yeah. Or Passover for some of us.
Passover for some
of us, yeah.
All right. Okay, Jay.
Mr. Leiter, you're a good friend. I appreciate
Oh my
your time.
God! Hey, folks in I love Jay. In case you didn't know, and really, you mean so much to the Mets organizations historically, presently, because I know some of the guys down in that clubhouse also miss you.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel
I
about you.
appreciate you're a good friend and a good friend.
And I know your humility is obvious. But you're a legend.
Well, appreciate that.
Not trying to make you feel uncomfortable, but if I keep going, can I get you to cry somehow?
I can cry, I can shed it. I'm trying to think who was the other in Ryan O'Neal. I was thinking of Ally McGraw and Ryan O'Neal. I cried about 19 times in that movie. I love that story.
Why did you cry?
Because it was just romantic. It was nice. It was just a nice love story, and I just cry at love stories.
Did you cry in Bull Durham?
No, not really.
When Nuke couldn't throw it over the plate?
I cried in Major Leagues.
Oh.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
All right, thanks.